How many riders have nearly gotten killed trying something they saw on YouTube? Today, we're counting down the 15 most fatal habits new riders pick up from so-called guru channels, where viral tips outrank your safety and misinformation trumps real experience. From breaking myths that guarantee disaster to gear traps, mechanical shortcuts, and mindset errors that sabotage your survival, these habits rarely show up on crash reports, but practically ensure a bad outcome. Which risk tops the list, and which one habit quietly wrecks engines and bank accounts? Let's reveal the truth, starting with the unsafe braking lie that keeps new riders sliding into trouble at number 15. Rear brake reliance is the most common and most costly braking myth passed around beginner circles online. Viral tutorials warn new riders about the so-called dangers of the front brake, pushing the idea that the rear pedal is safer in a panic. The numbers tell a different story. Insurance claim analytics from the last 5 years show that in novice crashes involving emergency stops, 83% involved abrupt or rear-only brake use. Here's the physics. When you hit the brakes, your bike's weight shifts forward. Under hard braking, the front tire can handle up to 90% of the load. Relying on the rear alone leaves most of your stopping power unused, doubling your stopping distance and making a slide almost inevitable. The fork barely dives, the rear tire locks, and the bike skids out from under you. Progressive front brake pressure, squeeze, don't stab, lets you load the tire, then blend in the rear for control. Practicing 30-0 drills in a parking lot, feeling the fork compress, builds muscle memory that saves lives. The difference is clear. Proper technique nearly halves your stopping distance. Don't copy the rear brake myth. Trust the physics, not the views. Look where you want to go. It sounds simple, and that's why it spreads like wildfire on YouTube. But the way it's repeated online turns a helpful cue into a dangerous trap. Riders hear the mantra and end up staring straight at the exit or apex, locking their vision and ignoring everything else. That's how you get tunnel vision. In real crashes, it's not the turn that gets you. It's the curb, the gravel, the car edging out of a driveway. A 2019 group ride ended with 2 bikes in the weeds after both riders, panicked by an obstacle, fixated on their chosen line and missed the hazard just off to the side. The crash video racked up over 1 million views, but the lesson got buried in the comments. MSF instructors have been warning about this for years. Target fixation means your hands follow your eyes, even if your eyes are locked on a threat. The fix isn't just look through. It's scan, glance, look ahead, then return to the exit point. Keep your vision wide, shoulders loose, and always pick up hazards with your peripheral before you commit. Drills like cone weaves and corner exits force you to move your head and eyes, breaking the tunnel. Don't let a viral shortcut steal your safety margin. See everything, not just the finish line. Clutch control isn't just a detail. It's the difference between crawling through traffic and face planting in front of a crowd. YouTube is packed with advice that skips the friction zone entirely, pushing beginners to rely on throttle and clutch like an on-off switch. The fallout shows up in the numbers. Insurance data from the last 5 years reveals a 27% higher tip-over rate among novices who learned from online videos. Every stall, every jerky start, every awkward U-turn leaves scars on bikes and egos. Repairs for a simple low-speed drop run anywhere from $300 for a bent lever to over $1,200 for cracked engine covers. The fix is pure fundamentals. Hold a steady throttle, feather the clutch, and use the rear brake to balance speed. Practice slow circles and U-turns in a parking lot, keeping your eyes up and your hands relaxed. Mastering the friction zone isn't flashy, but it's the skill that slashes tip-overs and builds real confidence. Don't let shortcut tutorials write your repair bills. Earn smooth control the right way. Aggressive riding gets sold online as a shortcut to safety, but the real numbers tell a different story. Weaving through traffic and tailgating to stand out actually strips away your reaction time and confuses drivers who expect you to hold your line. Insurance data shows that when riders keep a steady lane position and maintain a minimum 3-second gap, collision risk drops by nearly 40%. The myth that you need to ride wild to get noticed has been propped up by viral clips and ego-fueled tutorials, but what it really does is erase your safety buffer and invite mistakes, both yours and everyone else's. Instead, the smartest riders use lane position to form a triangle in a driver's mirrors, making themselves visible without darting or crowding. Bright legal lighting and disciplined speed do more to get you seen than any sudden swerve or throttle blip. The real fix is simple. Set a 2 to 3 second gap, check your mirrors every few seconds, and remember that space, not noise or flash, is your best defense. Aggression on the street doesn't make you visible, it just makes you a target. Loud pipes and neon lights get sold as life insurance, but the science doesn't back the hype. Most new riders have heard the pitch. Crank up the exhaust, slap on some LED lights, and drivers will finally notice you. Here's the reality. Inside a modern car, with the windows up and music on, your $800 slip-on muffler barely registers. Studies from the past decade show that motorcycle noise gets swallowed by road insulation and ambient sound. Drivers don't hear you until you're already in their blind spot. Meanwhile, bright, contrast-heavy gear and legal auxiliary lighting actually show up in mirrors and side glances, which is where attention counts. Insurance claim reviews rarely find a correlation between loud pipes and avoided collisions, but they do note higher rates of traffic stops and neighbor complaints. The fix isn't to outshout the traffic. It's to make your outline impossible to ignore. Test your gear in daylight, add reflective panels to your helmet and shoulders, and use brake light modulators if your state allows it. Noise and flash might win you likes, but only contrast and smart placement win you space on the road. Stunt riding has become the gold rush of YouTube motorcycle content, and new riders are paying the price. Channels built on viral wheelies, stoppies, and high-speed lane splits rake in hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. Moto Madness alone cleared an estimated $500,000 in ad revenue last year. The incentive is clear. The riskier the stunt, the higher the views, and the more money in the creator's pocket. But the fallout lands on the street, not the studio. Two recent court rulings, one in Oregon, one in Florida, assigned partial liability to YouTubers whose monetized videos influenced real-world crashes. In both cases, the judges cited the lack of clear warnings and the direct encouragement of illegal street stunts. The legal trend is shifting. If a creator profits from reckless advice, they may end up sharing the bill for the damage. For new riders, the real cost isn't just a ticket or an impound fee. It's the ambulance ride, the insurance hike, and the permanent record of a crash that never had to happen. Skill building belongs in a closed lot, not a crowded highway. The fix is simple. Separate practice from transport, set clear goals for each session, and keep the camera off until you can ride clean without risking your license or your life. The algorithm might reward chaos, but the street never does. Running your tank to empty isn't just a rookie mistake. It's a shortcut to a 4-figure repair bill. Modern bikes use in-tank fuel pumps that depend on gasoline for both cooling and lubrication. When you roll below a quarter tank, the pump runs hotter and starts pulling every bit of grit and water lurking at the bottom of the tank. That means sediment heads straight for your injectors, and moisture from condensation can trigger rust or electrical faults. Mechanics see it all the time. A pump replacement and injector flush can run over $600, with some shops quoting double that for late-model bikes. Compare that to the cost of topping off early, a few bucks at the pump every time. Setting an odometer reminder or refueling at a quarter tank is cheap insurance. Keep a simple log to track fill-ups and avoid expensive surprises. The lesson is clear. Fuel is for riding, not gambling. Don't let bad habits learned online drain both your tank and your wallet. Lowering a bike for looks or comfort isn't just a style choice. It's a physics penalty that most new riders never see coming. Aftermarket lowering links or slammed suspension take an inch or two off the ride height, but that same inch can slice 7 degrees or more off your lean angle. Suddenly, the pegs, side stand, or hard luggage become the first thing to hit the pavement in a corner, not your tires. That's not just cosmetic. When a hard part touches down, it can lever the rear tire off the road, causing a low side with no warning. Track tests on popular models like the SV650 and CBR600 show that a 1-inch drop can turn a safe 45-degree lean into a metal-scraping 38-degree limit. Oversized panniers or crash bars stack the risk, sometimes cutting total lean loss into double digits. The simple fix is a chalk test. Mark your hard parts, lean the bike over on a stand or with help, and see what hits first. If you're scraping metal before the tire's edge, you've traded safety for style. Know your bike's clearance, check your mods, and keep the lean angle you paid for. Cheap helmets and loose jackets are everywhere in beginner gear guides, but the danger hides in the details. Lab tests from 2022 found that more than 70% of fake helmets sold online failed basic impact absorption. That means the shell cracked or the foam collapsed on the very first hit. No second chances. The illusion of protection is worse than none at all. When a helmet slides around on your head, or the chin strap peels off in a crash, the result is direct impact to the skull. The lifetime cost of a traumatic brain injury can top $1 million, far beyond the price of a properly certified helmet. DOT, ECE, and Snell stickers aren't just decoration. They're proof your helmet passed real-world drop tests. The same goes for armor. Loose pads shift on impact, sleeves ride up, and fake CE labels mean you're gambling with your skin. Fit is everything. 4 points matter: helmet crown and cheek, jacket shoulder and elbow, pant hip and knee, glove retention. Sit on your bike, reach for the bars, and tug at every seam. If your armor moves, so will your odds in a crash. Don't trust a YouTuber's affiliate link or a flashy thumbnail. Trust the fit, the label, and the test results. Gear isn't about looking cool. It's about keeping every part of you in one piece when everything else goes wrong. Every dollar saved by skipping maintenance is a BET against your own engine. YouTube is flooded with creators pushing the idea that oil changes, brake flushes, and chain care are just dealership scams, something for suckers who don't know better. But the math doesn't lie. The cost of a routine oil change hovers around $70, while a single engine rebuild from oil shear or metal-on-metal wear lands between $4,000 and $8,000. Mechanics see it every season. Riders stretch intervals, run old oil past its limit, and pay for it with spun bearings, scored cams, or total seizure. Oil isn't just a lubricant, it's the only thing standing between moving parts and catastrophic friction. Once it shears down, microscopic metal shavings circulate, eating away at bearings and journals. Brake fluid left unchanged absorbs water, corroding lines and eating calipers from the inside. Chains run dry or over-tighten snap seals and chew up sprockets, turning a $100 fix into a $1,000 headache. The resale value of a bike without a service log drops fast. Buyers and dealers walk away from undocumented machines, knowing the risk isn't worth the gamble. The manual isn't a suggestion, it's the bare minimum. Every skipped interval is a silent countdown. Build a maintenance log, set calendar and mileage reminders, and treat each service as cheap insurance. The difference between a well-kept bike and a ticking time bomb is discipline, not luck. Don't let YouTube's false economy drain your wallet or your engine. The real flex is a bike that runs strong for years, with records to prove it. Every year, thousands of new riders pick bikes that look good on paper but don't fit their bodies or reflexes. The numbers are clear. Older riders are buying heavier, more powerful machines at a record rate, and single-vehicle crash data shows a spike in incidents where reaction time and muscle fatigue play the deciding role. Insurance studies from the past decade highlight a troubling pattern. Riders over 40 are twice as likely to lose control of a high-torque bike during sudden stops or quick maneuvers, especially after long rides or in low-light conditions. Reaction time slows with age, and recovery from mistakes takes longer, but YouTube tutorials rarely mention this. Instead, the culture pushes big bike, big respect without talking about the hidden costs. A 2022 biomechanics review found that average grip strength and stopping force dropped by 15% per decade after 35, and night vision degrades even faster. The fix isn't giving up riding, it's matching your power-to-weight ratio to what you can handle when tired, not just on your best day. Add a 20% buffer to your stopping distances, especially at night or when riding with a passenger. Build up grip strength with dedicated drills and audit your bike's seat height so you can flat foot at a stop. These small adjustments are the difference between a close call and a crash. The bike you choose should serve your skills, not your ego or your birth year. YouTube is packed with riders showing off how fast they improved, but the numbers behind those highlight reels tell a different story. 64% of new riders in a recent survey said they learned at least one critical skill from YouTube. For most, that means a flood of confidence after just a few months, 3 to 6 on average, when everything suddenly clicks. The bike feels lighter, the controls feel familiar, and the urge to push the pace takes over. But here's the trap. That early skill spike isn't backed by real-world hazard experience. Insurance data from the last 5 years shows a sharp cluster of crashes among novices right at that 3 to 6 month mark. Riders who feel like they've leveled up after binge-watching tutorials start cornering faster, braking later, and chasing the riding style they see online. What they're missing is a library of close calls and near misses, the kind of lessons you only get from structured, deliberate practice. This illusion of mastery is why so many first crashes happen on familiar roads, not in crazy situations. The fix isn't more hours or more YouTube, it's structure. Set a 3-session cycle for every new skill. First, drill in a parking lot until you can repeat it clean 3 times. Next, take it to a gentle street ride with a strict speed limit. Finally, use it in real traffic, but only after logging 3 sessions without mistakes. No hero runs, no chasing the next viral move. Log your errors, review your rides, and don't raise your pace until you've banked 3 clean sessions at each level. That's how you build a real hazard library, one that saves you when the road throws something new your way. The difference between a survivor and a statistic is discipline, not bravado. Years in the saddle don't guarantee sharp skills. What starts as confidence can quietly turn into autopilot, and that's when the real danger creeps in. Veteran riders, lulled by routine, start skipping checks and letting muscle memory do the work. The problem is, skills fade without deliberate upkeep, often so slowly that nobody notices until it's too late. Studies on training retention show that even experienced riders lose reaction time and fine control if they don't practice regularly. Emergencies expose this decay, brake distances creep up, U-turns get wider, and hazard response lags just enough to matter. It's not a theory, it's in the numbers. Insurance data from the last decade links a significant share of single-vehicle crashes to loss of control on familiar roads, often after years of riding without a close call. The fix isn't complicated, but it demands honesty. Every 3 months, run a personal audit. No exceptions. Start with a max brake test. Pick a safe, empty lot and measure your stopping distance from 30 miles per hour. Next, set up a U-turn box with cones or chalk, and see if you can turn inside the lines without dabbing a foot. Finally, use a reaction timer app or a stopwatch to check your startle-to-action speed. Record the results. If you're slower or sloppier than last time, it's time for a tune-up before the next group ride or long trip. Deliberate practice, quarterly, not just when you feel rusty, keeps your edge sharp and exposes any drift before it becomes a crash. The truth is, skills erode in silence. Complacency hides in routines. And YouTube won't warn you when your habits start to slip. The quarterly checklist isn't just for rookies. It's the only way to guarantee that what saved you last season will still save you now. Skill decay is invisible until the day you need every inch of stopping power or every split second of reflex. Don't wait for a close call to find out you've let it slide. First rides after a long winter layoff are the silent killers of motorcycle season. The risk doesn't come from the road itself, but from what happens inside the garage and under your helmet. Cold tires, stiff chains, and a brain that's forgotten the feel of lean and brake pressure. These are the ingredients for the annual spike in early season crashes. Insurance data tracks a 30% jump in single vehicle accidents during the first 3 weeks of spring, and the pattern repeats every year. New riders, eager to shake off the rust, skip the basics and pay the price. The physics are unforgiving. Rubber that sat for months loses grip. Cold compounds can take up to 10 miles to reach safe temperature, especially on chilly mornings. Even a minor swerve or brake at low speed can trigger a slide. But it's not just the tires. Moisture in the fuel tank condenses during storage, rusting the inside walls and contaminating injectors. Mechanics see the fallout every spring. $800 to $1,200 bills for tank flushes, new pumps, and injector rebuilds, all preventable with a little prep and patience. The real danger, though, is cognitive. Muscle memory fades. The smooth clutch release, the instinctive scan for hazards, the habit of covering the brake lever. These skills atrophy faster than most realize. Riders who skip a structured warm-up are the most likely to panic in a corner or misjudge a stop. That's why veteran instructors hammer the first 3 rides rule. No passengers, no night rides, no unfamiliar roads. The focus is on rebuilding feel, not chasing speed. The fix is simple and strict. Before the first ride, check tire pressures, fluid levels, and chain slack. Start with a 20-minute parking lot reset, slow circles, friction zone drills, and progressive braking ladders. Let the tires warm, let the brain catch up. Only after 3 clean, uneventful rides does the full street routine return. Skip this protocol, and the odds tilt sharply toward a crash or an expensive repair. The cost of patience is a few hours. The cost of rust or a cold tire low side is measured in bills and scars. Early season riding isn't about proving you remember how. It's about proving you still know how to survive. At 60 miles per hour, a half-second glance at your GPS or helmet display means you're blind for 44 feet, longer than a city bus. That's all it takes for a car to stop short, a pothole to appear, or a kid to step off the curb. New riders are told that tech makes them safer. HUDs, turn-by-turn prompts, action cams, music, even group chat intercoms. The reality is different. Every extra gadget in your cockpit is another slice of attention stolen from the only thing that matters, the road in front of you. Insurance investigators and crash researchers have tracked a steady rise in accidents where distracted riding played a role. In a 2023 analysis of novice crashes, more than a third involved riders who admitted to checking a device or fiddling with controls in the seconds before impact. It's not just texting or scrolling. Just a quick glance to adjust a camera or answer a call can turn a minor swerve into a fatal collision. Studies from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration show that even a half-second delay in reaction time can double the odds of a crash at highway speed. The problem is, motorcycle tech doesn't forgive mistakes. Unlike in a car, there's no lane keep assist, no emergency braking, no crumple zone. The margin for error is razor thin. When your focus splits between a flashing nav cue, a friend's voice in your ear, or the urge to check your speed on a new digital dash, you trade awareness for convenience. The physics don't care. At 60, you're moving almost 90 feet per second. By the time your eyes snap back to the road, you've already passed the point of no return. The hands-off rule is simple. Set your gear before you move, then leave it alone. Mount your camera once, angle your mirrors and HUD before you roll out, and mute the group chat unless you're stopped. If you need to check a map or answer a call, pull over. The best cockpit is a quiet one. When you're riding, your eyes belong up, your hands on the controls, and your mind on the next hazard, not the next track, the next turn, or the next notification. Distraction is the ultimate multiplier. It doesn't just add risk, it magnifies every other mistake. Bad braking, missed hazards, sloppy cornering. Riders who treat tech as a safety net end up paying twice. Once for the gear, and again when a split second of inattention costs them everything. The fix isn't complicated, but it's absolute. Eyes up, hands off, no screens in motion. Every second you spend looking away is a second you can't get back. The most advanced safety system on any bike is the rider's brain, fully engaged, undistracted, and locked on the road ahead. Don't let a gadget steal that edge. 44 feet of blindness is all it takes to turn a near miss into a headline. The margin is measured in feet, not features. Early progress on a motorcycle feels addictive. After a few months, the confidence curve climbs fast, but the feedback loop is broken. YouTube tutorials don't correct your mistakes in real time, so small errors go unchecked and ego fills the gap. Without a coach or riding partner to spot what's missing, risk grows quietly. Before every ride, run a 4-point check: fatigue, weather, route, and ego. If 2 or more are red flags, call it off. Every crash database agrees. Most first-year accidents happen when confidence outpaces skill and no one's there to say slow down. Trying to save a falling bike is how ankles, wrists, and knees get wrecked, especially at 0 speed. Veteran instructors can point to scars that cost more than any scratched fairing. One coach broke his ankle in 3 places, yanking a heavy cruiser upright, all because he tried to never drop in front of students. The truth: bikes are built to tip, but bodies aren't built to stop them. Every low-speed injury from pride costs more in medical bills and lost riding time than a cracked mirror or dented tank ever will. The fix is training for the tip-over. Practice letting the bike go, learn the hips to seat lift, and install frame sliders before you need them. Protect yourself. First, plastic second. Chasing content for the algorithm pushes riders to cut corners, literally and figuratively. High-engagement challenge videos rarely warn viewers, yet their formats encourage riskier moves and tighter margins, all for a viral clip. The rule is simple: camera last, skill first. If you break a safety rule, don't post. Find an accountability partner to keep you honest. Community starts with refusing to reward unsafe riding for clicks. From the rear brake reliance myth at the start to the ultimate risk multiplier, tech and data overload at number 1, this list exposes how dangerous internet advice can quietly shape riding habits. Across all 15 fatal habits, a clear pattern emerges. Shortcuts and viral hacks from unqualified YouTube gurus consistently trade real-world safety for online attention. The most shocking entries, like stretching maintenance intervals or chasing viral stunts, reveal how quickly a small error or ego-driven decision can spiral into financial disaster or a life-altering crash. What sets these habits apart is their hidden origin: well-meaning but misinformed creators, not professional instructors. This ranking proves that the real threat isn't just physical risk, but the normalization of unsafe practices through repetition and social proof. Ultimately, the truth is simple. Motorcycle safety is built on physics, deliberate practice, and honest feedback, not algorithms or showmanship. Lock in correct habits, question influencer advice, and remember, on the road, reality always beats internet myth.